Everything you've been told about growth is a lie. You don't learn strength when the sun is shining. You learn it when you're staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., wondering how it all fell apart. When the world goes quiet and all the plans you trusted collapse in your hands, that's when the real education begins. It doesn't happen in comfort. It doesn't arrive with warning. It begins with a jolt, a phone call, a loss, an ending you didn't see coming. We're taught to chase safety, to build stability, to find the smooth road and stay on it. But what if the smooth road was never meant to make you grow, only to make you forget who you are when everything else is stripped away? Picture the moment the familiar begins to fracture, the silence after the news you didn't want to hear, the tension in your chest when nothing makes sense. The mind wants to fix, to explain, to escape, but life is doing something far deeper. It's pulling the rug, not to punish you, but to reveal the ground beneath it. That ache in your stomach, that restless energy you can't shake. It's not weakness, it's awakening. It's life saying, look closer. Because here's the secret no one tells you. The breaking point is never the end. It's the doorway. The exact place where what's false burns away and what's real begins to take shape. You start to see how the moments that hurt the most carry the cleanest truth. They strip away everything that was borrowed, the roles, the masks, the quiet pretending. You see what actually remains when there's nothing left to hold on to. And in that raw space, fragile, uncertain, unguarded, something extraordinary starts to stir. The first flicker of clarity, the faint hum of resilience. Not the loud, inspirational kind, but the quiet understanding that you are still here. Breathing, feeling, learning how to move again, piece by piece. This is the moment where the myth of easy dies. Where you stop asking, why me? And start whispering, what now? Growth was never meant to be comfortable. It was meant to be real, unpredictable, alive, and demanding enough to wake you up. Stay here. Don't rush to the fix. Don't look away from the breaking. Because what happens next, when the lesson behind the hardship begins to reveal itself, will change everything you thought you knew about strength. Because once the myth of comfort is shattered, life begins its real lesson, and the classroom of hard is waiting. Life doesn't always knock. Sometimes it barges in. You think you're handling everything fine, the deadlines, the expectations, the quiet pressure to keep it all together, and then one day, something small snaps, a conversation turns sideways. A mistake costs more than it should. A single sentence ends what you thought would last forever. It's strange how fast normal disappears. At first, the instinct is survival, patch what broke, rebuild the illusion of control. But when nothing fits back together, a quieter truth begins to whisper underneath the noise. Maybe this isn't happening to you. Maybe it's happening for you. Here's a story. There was a man who lost everything he thought defined him. Job, status, rhythm, certainty. For months, he fought to restore the version of life he'd lost. Every day began with panic, ended with exhaustion. Then, one morning, while staring blankly at a cracked coffee mug, something shifted. He realized he had lived entirely on autopilot, fueled by approval, driven by fear of falling behind. And that collapse, brutal as it was, forced him to see what he'd been missing, himself. The job didn't define him. The chaos did, because in chaos, there was no room for pretending. That moment wasn't graceful, it was raw, but it was real. And real is where wisdom hides. Hardship teaches differently than comfort ever could. It doesn't use gentle words or tidy lessons. It teaches through confrontation, through the discomfort that refuses to be ignored. It breaks the version of you that was built to survive, so something truer can finally take its place. Here's the pattern no one talks about. Every breakdown contains an invitation. Inside the shock, there's information about what you value, what you fear, what you've been avoiding. If you stop trying to rush the pain away, you start to see the map it's been drawing all along. Look closer. That exhaustion you feel, it's not a flaw, it's feedback. That ache in your chest, it's direction. That silence after everything falls apart, it's the sound of clarity forming. The classroom of hard has no textbooks, no tidy structure. Its lessons arrive through tension, surrender, patience, humility. And every time you think you've failed the test, life quietly writes a new one that matches who you're becoming, not who you used to be. It's uncomfortable, yes. But discomfort is just the space between who you were and who you're learning to be. So next time the ground gives way, pause before you run. Ask yourself, what if this collapse isn't the end, but the introduction to my real education? Because somewhere within the struggle, beneath the noise, beneath the loss, a quieter strength is being born. It doesn't rush, it doesn't announce itself, but it's there, forming in the background, waiting for the moment you finally notice. And in that chaos, hidden capacities quietly emerge, strengths you never knew were there, waiting only for the fire to reveal them. No one tells you that strength doesn't arrive with trumpets. It shows up quietly, disguised as endurance, as getting out of bed when everything in you resists, as answering one more email, showing up to one more meeting, taking one more breath when the weight feels too heavy to carry. It's not dramatic. It's not glamorous. It's invisible. But it's real. Something happens in those moments when the easy way out no longer exists, when comfort eyes empty an option, when pretending isn't possible. What's left is raw presence, the real you, stripped of performance, standing in the debris of old plans. And that's where discovery begins. You start to notice small things, the mind recalibrating under pressure, the body adapting in silence, the heart expanding even as it aches. The resilience you thought you didn't have reveals itself not as sudden power, but as quiet persistence. This is the paradox of hardship. The very thing that breaks you also builds you. Every setback that forces you to your knees rewires something fundamental, the way you perceive limits, the way you define strength, the way you meet life itself. When life strips away the non-essential, what remains is a kind of clarity that cannot be taught. You begin to see patterns, how fear disguises itself as control, how attachment masquerades as purpose, how avoidance drains the very energy it seeks to preserve. And then, without realizing it, you become different, not tougher, truer, not harder, clearer, not immune to pain, but grounded in it. There's a strength that doesn't need to prove itself. It doesn't shout, doesn't posture, doesn't seek validation. It simply exists as steady current running beneath the noise. It's the strength of someone who has seen collapse and chosen not to close their heart. That kind of power changes everything, because now, the next time chaos knocks, it's familiar. The next fall doesn't feel fatal, it feels navigable. You've been here before. You know what to do. Notice that shift, the quiet confidence that replaces panic. It's not arrogance, it's awareness. You've built a kind of emotional muscle memory, an internal knowing that no matter what arrives, you'll meet it with presence rather than fear. And beneath all of it runs something softer, vulnerability, because real strength isn't about being untouched. It's about staying open while the storm passes through. It's about learning that courage doesn't mean invincibility. It means choosing to keep your heart exposed to life, even when it hurts. Maybe that is the secret we overlook. The point of hardship isn't to make you tougher, it's to make you real. You don't come out unscarred, you come out honest. And in that honesty, a new kind of power is born, one that doesn't rely on circumstances or approval, one that stays steady even when everything else falls apart. Take a moment to feel the quiet pulse beneath the noise. That's resilience. It's not waiting to be built. It's been here all along, waiting for you to notice. There's a moment after the storm, after the ache, After the endless questioning, when you realized that hard was never the enemy, it was the sculptor shaping something lasting beneath the chaos. Every hardship leaves traces, and within those traces lie the tools you've victing all along, the beginnings of a personal hardship-proof toolkit. Start with attention. Not just noticing the obvious, but tuning into the subtle signals of your body, your mind, your heart. The tightening in your chest, the hesitation in your mind, the restless energy in your hands. These are clues. Each sensation, each reaction is data. Learning to pause, to notice, to reflect without judgment is the first tool. It transforms pressure into insight. Next comes adaptability. Life rarely follows the scripts we write. Plans crumble, expectations fail, certainty dissolves. Adaptability is not just adjusting, it's bending without breaking. Experimenting with new approaches, choosing flexibility over frustration. It is the muscle that grows stronger with every challenge, the quiet current that carries you through moments you once thought impossible. Then there's self-compassion. Hardship is often accompanied by harsh self-judgment. Pause. Speak kindly to yourself. Acknowledge the difficulty without adding blame. Every mistake, every failure, every should have is part of the journey, not a verdict. Self-compassion transforms struggle from punishment into a teacher, softening the edges while sharpening awareness. Reflection is another key tool. Notice how discomfort unfolds. Ask, what worked? What surprised me? What did I learn about my limits, my patience, my courage? Reflection turns raw experience into wisdom, a mental map that guides the next step, the next challenge, the next choice. Finally, connection. Seek perspectives that illuminate what may not be visible from inside your struggle. Conversations, mentorship, stories, even quiet observation, they expand understanding, showing that you are never navigating difficulty alone. Connection turns private struggle into shared insight, creating support that amplifies the other tools. This toolkit is not a checklist, it is alive. Attention, adaptability, self-compassion, reflection, connection, they interact, reinforce, and evolve. Each challenge adds new tools. Each choice strengthens the ones already present. Life becomes navigable not because hardship ends, but because the inner capacity grows ahead of the next storm. Pause for a moment. Feel the shift. Notice the invisible scaffolding you've been building without realizing it. The next time chaos arrives, the mind notices patterns, the body stays steady. Decisions arise from clarity rather than panic. Insight flows naturally. Strength is applied deliberately, shaping action, relationships, and perspective. Curiosity fuels it all. Ask, what could I handle today that once felt impossible? What capacities will tomorrow's challenges reveal? The answers live inside attention and practice. Each moment of struggle becomes a chance to discover strength, clarity, and purpose you didn't know existed. If this reflection resonates, pause here, breathe, notice what surfaced. Even one insight is proof that the mind and heart are capable of far more than assumed. And here's the invitation. Explore the other videos on this channel. Each one is a gentle guide to uncover hidden capacities, deepen awareness, and live fully in your own strength. Comment below if something here sparked recognition, share a moment that felt true to you, and subscribe to stay connected with reflections that meet you in real life. Step forward with intention. Life will continue to deliver challenges, some expected, some impossible. But equipped with this toolkit, every moment becomes a chance to discover resilience, insight, and the quiet power that has been waiting for you all along.